Well, hello guys, in this video I'm going to talk about what you must know in order to pass the IELTS, hopefully with flying colors, what you should be aware of when preparing for the test and taking the test. I know that there are plenty of videos and content online about the IELTS, so I will try to keep it short, concise, and relevant so that you can spend less time looking for information on how to prepare for the IELTS and actually study for the IELTS and do something else. This is my first video in English, and I'm sure that all of my subscribers are wondering why on earth I am talking in English. Well, the answer is that since I know that the IELTS is taken by millions of people each year, I don't know the precise figure, but it is in the million order. I thought that it was time to get international and reach out to a wider audience. It is just an experiment, just an attempt. Well, first of all, the books that I recommend. They are these two, the only books that you will need to prepare for the IELTS. They are made by Cambridge, which is the creator of the exam. And the first one is the more analytical one. It covers each section of each part of the exam and gives some advice on how to go through each section. A lot of the advices here are like for real absolute beginners. A lot of stuff here is useless, but what's really great about this book is that it comes with 8 practice tests that you can use to prepare for the exam. And the other one is this small book, and this is a really great vocabulary building book. It is divided into topics like animals, urban jungle, natural history, and so on. I use this one to expand my vocabulary, and there are also some practice tests interspersed in the book. Anyway, I was not paid by Cambridge to promote this book, so it is my own personal advice. Turning to the test, what you have to know? Well, the passive sections of the test, the reading and the listening, are pretty straightforward. Well, I mean that the instructions are pretty straightforward. You simply have to get as many answers as possible right and write the correct words. Like you simply have to understand the input and choose the right answer. So what I recommend is that you take a lot of practice tests, time yourself with a stopwatch so that you will feel a bit under pressure, because it will help, trust me. And for every mistakes that you make, try to pin down the causes for that mistake and write what you can do in order to avoid making that mistake in the future. This will help you to develop the right technique to use in each section of the exam, and you will get some feedback on the mistakes that you make. These eventually will make you more alert to the kind of distractors that the examiner plays in the exam, the kind of traps that they use to trick you into the wrong answer. As for the listening, well, it is important for me. This may sound quite weird, but listen to what I have to say because it is worth listening to. You have to introduce some kind of disturbance into your listening sessions. I say this because the quality of the audio in my test venue was really poor. Well, I do not like to attribute the causes of my low performances to external factors, but in this case it has to be said that the audio quality was really poor because we were in a large room. It must have been like 200 or 300 square meters, and there was only one speaker placed at the center of the room, so that the people that were sitting at the edges, like me, close to the exit doors, had a really hard time making out what the speakers were saying. The audio was really not definite. It was unclear. Sometimes it felt like the speakers were just mumbling instead of speaking. So my advice for the listening: be prepared to inconveniences like poor audio quality, and train your ears to be better able to understand what the speakers are saying despite the presence of a disturbance or every other factors that makes the audio less clear. Well, turning to the active sections of the exam, the writing and the speaking, well, here the game gets quite trickier because you have to understand, to take into account, to bear in mind that your speaking and your writing will not be assessed only on your ability to produce language, to demonstrate your language skills. They will be assessed also on your ability to fulfill certain requests and to keep to certain standards. For the writing, I got a 7.5, which was really disappointing for me because I was expecting a higher band score. I was impressed with my own writing at the end. I don't like to boast, but it was really well written. The ideas were laid out in a structured way, just like they want you to do. The problem is that I overdid it. I wrote too much. In writing task 1, I wrote 220 words. In writing task 2, I wrote 340 words. And a friend of mine at university told me that he attended a course for the IELTS and an examiner said that they stop correcting your essay once you reach 280 words. Beyond that point, everything else that you write will not be taken into account. So if you arrive at that point and you haven't written a conclusion yet, your essay will be assessed as lacking a conclusion, so you will be marked down. So for the writing, the hidden rule is remember not to exceed 280 words for the writing task 2 and 170 to 180 words in task 1. Turning to the speaking test. Well, this one was the most disappointing of all because I got a 7 and it was really underwhelming because I was expecting more and I felt that I gave a good performance. The problem here was that I tended to register formal and informal words together. For example, I said inchoate, inchoate plans for the future. After that, I said that my decisions for my future career were still up in the air. I used this idiom, up in the air. And I think that now, looking back upon the exam, I think that that choice was not really great. But what affected my score above all was that I tended to go off topic sometimes. But that was due to the fact that the questions sometimes were quite tough. It was quite tough to keep talking for 2 minutes about question that they gave. My question for speaking part 2 was talk about a gift that you gave to someone and how they reacted, basically. So it was hard to come up with any idea because I didn't have any real event to talk about, so I had to make up the whole story. It was really tough to invent the story and keep talking about it, and so I had to go off topic in order to expand on my answer and fill the time. Basically, I said that I gave a football video game to one of my friends, that he liked it very much, that he had a whale of a time playing it. But then I had to go off topic and talk about the negative effects of playing video games, like promoting a sedentary lifestyle and stuff like that. And I think that was not really relevant to the question, so I got marked down. So what you have to remember is that your language skills are just as important or even less important than your ability to keep to certain standards. Talk in a structured way, remember to include tangible examples to back up what you say, and try not to go off topic. You can be a native speaker and still get a low score because you do not know what you are supposed to do in each of the active sections of the test. Like I heard a rumor about an Australian guy who took the IELTS just for fun and he got a 6.5 because he didn't know how to do the speaking test, and so he kept rambling about the topic without being direct and answering the questions. So he got marked down severely, even though he was really good at speaking. English was his native language and he was fluent, and it was able to talk in a fluent and articulate way using natural expressions and sounding natural in general. But that was not enough because, as I said, the IELTS is not just about your language skills, it's also about your exam skills. Remember that. So, as for me, I will never take an English test again, and if I will do, I will opt for the American equivalent of these exams, the TOEFL. I don't know how it's pronounced, but the American one. I heard that they gave you headphones at least. I think that British English is not really propitious for me because I took 3 tests with Cambridge. The first, and I got a 78, which was just 2 points short of the higher band score, the C1. I took the certificate in advanced English, the CAE, and I got a 79, which was just 1 point short of the C2 level, the higher band score. And then these IELTS, I got a 7.5. It was actually 7.6 and 125, and it was cut down to 7.5. I got 30.5 points, and it was just 0.5 short of getting an 8, which is better because it looks better. It's an 8. It begins with an 8, not with a 7, you know. But I have to say, to be honest, I'm really glad that I got these exams over with, that I can finally focus on improving my English just by doing what I like to do. Remember, guys, the IELTS is a standardized test, and as such, it doesn't really hit the mark in evaluating your true potential because language learning, language ability cannot be tested in a single exam. It has to be observed in real life. Well, for this video, it's all. I hope that my advice was helpful, and I wish you all the best for your exam. Goodbye.